All right, it is 5 o'clock. I'd like to welcome everyone in attendance this evening here in the Baker Meeting Room and those online, as well as all our commissioners, to this meeting of the Bismarck Planning and Zoning Commission. And it is January 28th. And with that, I will call the meeting to order. And the first item on my agenda this evening, before we do anything else, is I've got 3 new commissioners sitting with us, I'm quite happy to say. And I guess I'd like to offer them an opportunity to introduce themselves and to say maybe a word or two about themselves before we get the meeting rolling. So, Al, Commissioner Wangler, would you like to start?
Thank you, Chair. My name is Al Wangler. I've been a resident of Bismarck for 65 plus years. I do sit on the Board of Adjustments, and I watch City Commission, County Commission, school board meetings. Interesting, and I just thought I've got time now that I'm retired, and I'd like to be involved. So that's why I threw my hat in the ring.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome. Thank you.
And Commissioner Swanson?
Thank you. My name is Connor Swanson. I've been a Bismarck resident for just a year now, but grew up here in North Dakota, from Bowman, North Dakota, and I'm happy to be here. Just happy to be here.
Thank you. And Commissioner Taylor?
I'm Kendra Taylor. I've lived here for quite some time. I'm raising 3 little kids here. I'm also just happy to be here.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you all for joining. With that, Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Bittner?
Here.
Commissioner Field? Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Schell?
Here.
Commissioner Schmitz?
Here.
Commissioner Sivak? Commissioner Swanson?
Here.
Commissioner Taylor?
Here.
Commissioner Wangen? Commissioner Wangler?
Here.
Chair Schwartz.
Here, thank you. With that, we will move on to the first item on our agenda this evening, which is approval of our December 17th, 2025 minutes. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Move to approve.
We have a motion from Commissioner Johnson to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
A second from Commissioner Schell. Commissioners, any discussion? And I'm not hearing or seeing any. Sarah, please call roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wangler?
Yes.
Commissioner Schell?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz?
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner?
Yes.
Commissioner Swanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
And Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we will move on to the public comment section of our meeting this evening. And I'll open up the public comment. It is limited to items that appeared on the agenda for our December 17th meeting, or any item that appears in the consent agenda for this evening's meeting. And the rules are you have 5 minutes to address the commission if you so wish. Is there anyone that would care to step up to the podium? Calling once, calling twice, and calling 3 times. With that, I'm going to close the public comment period. And we will move on to our consent agenda this evening. And we have 3 items in our consent agenda, the first being JFP Foxhaven subdivision. And the request there is for a major street plan amendment, a zoning map amendment, and a major subdivision preliminary plat. Staff recommendation is to call for a public hearing on all 3. The next item, which is B, is Boulder Ridge 8th edition. And that is a call for a zoning map amendment, a major subdivision preliminary plat. Once again, staff's recommendation is to call for a public hearing. And the final item in our consent agenda is C, which is Clear Sky 2nd edition. And that is a request for a zoning map amendment and a major subdivision preliminary plat. And once again, staff's recommendation is to call for a public hearing for both. Commissioners, What are your wishes regarding the consent agenda this evening?
Motion to call for a public hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner Bittner. We have a motion to call,
Second.
and we have a second from Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? And I'm not seeing or hearing any. With that, Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Swanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wengler,
Yes.
Commissioner Shell,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz, Commissioner Schmitz?
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay, thank you. Commissioner Bittner,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
and Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we'll move on to our regular agenda this evening. And the first item on our regular agenda is Boulder Ridge 7th Edition Second Replat. And I believe Lauren is going to provide us with staff report this evening.
Good evening, Chairman Schwartz and Commissioners. I did hand out an extra item prior to this meeting. I will describe that further on in my report to you, but I just wanted to make you aware that it is provided to you here, as well as it will be showing up on the screen for anyone watching online. So the New Development Company, Inc. is requesting approval of a minor subdivision final plat titled Boulder Ridge 7th Edition Second Replat. The project area is comprised of 10.83 acres and is located in North Bismarck, east of North Washington Street, south of 57th Avenue, between Flint Drive and Calvert Drive. The proposed plat is a replat of lots 1 and 2, Block 3, Boulder Ridge 7th Edition First Replat. The proposed plat would create 11 lots in one block. The property is currently zoned RM15 residential and has been identified as neighborhood mixed use in the future land use plan. Adjacent uses include St. Mary's High School to the north across 57th Avenue Northeast, some row houses and two-family residential to the east across Calvert Drive, some developing single-family residential to the south across Marble Drive, and undeveloped land west across Flint Drive. The public was notified of this request. A notice was published in the Bismarck Tribune on January 16th and 23rd, and 49 postcards were mailed to the owners of nearby properties on January 16th of this month. A physical sign as well was that provided information on the public hearing was placed in a publicly accessible spot on January 12th as well. Staff did receive one phone call from an adjacent property owner. They were just looking for some additional information on the project, but didn't indicate if they were for or against the project. To my knowledge, staff has not received any formal public comments regarding this request. In addition to the general public notification requirements, both North Dakota Century Code and the city's zoning ordinance include notification requirements for the applicant. In particular, the city zoning ordinance requires a certified letter be sent no later than 10 days before the hearing, and Century Code requires a certified letter be sent no later than 5 days. As referenced within the staff report, the applicant and their consultant received notification updates throughout the application process, including notification of the potential public hearing of tonight's meeting. However, the required certified letter was not sent in the time period referenced within the city zoning ordinance, but did meet state requirements. The applicant and their consultant were made aware of this error, and the required certified letter, again, was sent to the applicant on January 22nd, which does meet state law requirements. The applicant has requested that the requirement noted within the city's ordinance be waived in order to meet the expected project timeline for a minor subdivision final plat. The Planning and Zoning Commission have waived other zoning ordinance requirements in the past, and this request may mirror those decisions as the intent of the zoning ordinance to notify the applicant was upheld and state law was met. A copy of the waiver for the certified letter requirement is attached within the staff report for your review. The request was evaluated according to standards contained in the Comprehensive Plan, Code of Ordinances, and relevant state law. The proposed plat attached to the staff report had a minor issue with the noted lot depths for lots 2 through 6. As shown on that plat within your staff report, it had it at 113. The minimum lot depth for a row house within the ordinance is 115. So 2-foot difference. The applicant was made aware of that and fixed it and provided the updated plat for approval tonight. As you can see on the screen here, this is the one included within the staff report, and an updated one was provided to you earlier. The applicant has also submitted a written justification for the private street, which is attached in the staff report as well, for the use of a private drive adjacent to lots 2 through 11, noting that a site plan for the row house development was already approved, and the dedication of a public right-of-way would create some setback violations for the structures that are currently in place. Staff have requested that a signed private drive, private utility agreement be submitted prior to recordation of the plat. As a result of all findings contained in the staff report, City of Bismarck staff find that the proposed minor subdivision final plat would not adversely impact the public health, safety, and general welfare, and is consistent with the comprehensive plan, code of ordinances, and state law with the inclusion of those certain conditions. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the updated minor subdivision final plat that was provided to you tonight for Boulder Ridge 7th edition second replat with the following 2 conditions. A signed private drive, private utility agreement is submitted prior to recordation of the plat, and the Title 14 requirement for a certain letter, or for a certified letter sent at least 10 days prior to the hearing is waived, with the understanding that it was sent at least 5 days prior to the hearing in accordance with North Dakota Century Code. Do you have any questions?
Commissioners, questions for Lauren? Commissioner Shell.
Lauren, my question or series of questions isn't so much on the plat, but it's probably more so on the site plan that's already approved and building permits that have already been pulled. I guess from your understanding, is planning staff comfortable with the building permits that are issued as it relates to where these new property lines would be located, that we're not somehow carving up a building in half, or does it change any of the building code requirements now that this would be a shared property line as opposed to just a common wall between on one larger parcel? Can you maybe just speak to those concerns?
Thank you, Commissioner Shell, Chair, Commissioners. So as there's an item attached to the staff report kind of showing where the proposed building layout is for each of those lots, just to make sure that it would meet relevant easements as well as setback requirements related to a row house. Regarding any changes to building permit requirements, I would not be able to answer that at this time.
And then maybe one follow-up question. Would the change of this plat moving, because it looks like the boundary of lots 2 through 11 remained the same, but just that internal line, I should say the outer boundary remained the same, but that internal line that split them moved over a couple of feet from what was in the staff report. Does that present any issues, or is it just going to be that the road isn't centered in the middle of the common line? It's going to have more on one side or the other?
Another great question, Commissioner Shell, Chair, Commissioners. You're correct. It was just that north-south line that would be moved slightly to the east. The center line just wouldn't be there. It should still meet requirements for the setbacks as well as easement placements as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Commissioners, any additional questions for Lauren? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Lauren. Thank you. With that, I will open up the public hearing for this agenda item, and would either the requester or a representative, and I see Landon is stepping up, so.
Thank you, Chair Schwartz. Yes, Landon Eimler with Swenson Hagen Engineering, representing the new development company. Yeah, just add a little bit of detail to what Lauren had presented already. Typically in a situation like this, you see it in a little bit of a different order. Typically you'd see it as plat first, and then we would come back later and do a site plan and then start construction. In this case, the season was sort of wrapping up last year, and we wanted to get the foundation in the ground so the builders could start working through the winter. So we submitted a site plan, got that approval done. Construction has begun. A foundation is in place for the furthest east building, and now we're coming behind just to split up those lots. As most of you probably are aware, property ownership is just a little easier for them to deal with financing and things like that. So when people want to buy one of these row homes, it's easier for them to get financing when they actually own the land as well, as opposed to an unsplit difference between the entire property. In addition to that, to reference some of Commissioner Schell's questions, the property lines will be going down that common wall, but they're already constructed with that firewall that would meet fire code as though there were a property line there, even though there weren't at the time. That's how they are constructed. But I can certainly answer any questions if you have them.
Commissioners, any follow-up questions for Landon? Commissioner Schell?
Landon, a lot of the attention is being placed on the parcels on the east side of this property. There's still the one large lot remaining on the west, 3/4 or 5/6 or whatever that fraction is. Can you maybe speak to what the future would be of that lot in the likelihood that it would be replatted, I guess is what I'm trying to think of, and specifically on the lot numbers that we're assigning to this, if there's any value in, if we think lot 1's going to be replatted in the future, should that really be lot 11 and then use lots 1 through 10 for the area that is likely not to be replatted? Maybe my mind just thinks of that way, as kind of throwing the number at the end that was going to be replatted in the future, as opposed to leaving yourself lots 2 through 11 indefinitely. But can you speak to that?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Schell. So as we mentioned before, a site plan has been approved for those furthest east lots, but also some additional buildings that are to be constructed west of the split up area. We're not constructing them at this time because some of this is based on the market. If these first 2 buildings sell quite well, they would keep that original design that we've done to have this site plan approved, and then we would come back and split up those lots. And likely they would just continue on, and there'd be further splits as we go. So yes, lot 1 would almost certainly go away, and it would be replaced with lots 1 through 20 of the next replat. As far as numbering of the lots is concerned, we could certainly flip those around. It doesn't really affect us in any way. If it's easier for the city to say, yeah, make that the last lot because it's going to be irrelevant to the order of things, we can certainly do that.
Maybe my fault would be for staff if they had an opinion one way or the other, if that's a value or not.
Yeah, I support that. I think it's a minor change, but there's a little bit of value. I mean, these will last as the lots forever. So I think having a 1 through 10 is easier to understand than 2 through 11.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schell. Commissioners, additional questions for Landon? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Landon. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, the podium is open for others that would care to speak to this agenda item. And I'm not seeing or hearing anybody step up. So with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Lauren, any final comments?
Chair, just a reminder, the approval that would be requested tonight would be for that updated version of the plat.
Okay, thank you. All right. With that, Commissioners, this is a request for a minor subdivision final plat, and there are 2 conditions attached to it. And as Laura indicated, it would be for the drawing that we received this evening. So what are your wishes?
I would move to approve as presented with the conditions, but with also the request that lot 1 is exchanged with a lot 11, and then I should say the remaining lots are just redistributed in whatever manner that makes the most sense.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Schell.
Second.
Okay, we have a second from Commissioner Swanson. With that, any additional discussion? And I'm not seeing or hearing any. So with that, Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz?
Yes.
Commissioner Weigler?
Yes.
Commissioner Swanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Schell?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner?
Yes.
And Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we'll move on to item B in our regular agenda, which is Cottonwood Parkview Addition First Replat Block 1, lots 2 through 9. And I believe Isaac is going to provide us with staff report this evening.
Yes, thank you, Chair Schwartz and Commissioners. This next regular agenda item comes to us from Edgewood REIT, who are requesting approval of a zoning map amendment from the conditional R10 residential zoning district to the RM10 residential zoning district for lots 2 through 9, Block 1 of Cottonwood Parkview Edition, first replat. As you can see on the screen here, this project is located in South Bismarck, south of Santa Fe Avenue, north of Rutland Drive, along the west side of Camrose Drive there. The project area consists of approximately 1.71 acres, and there is a quick point of clarification that I'll make at this time. So the applicant is using the proposed zoning district to ultimately combine the 8 parcels into one parcel with all the existing buildings. On the first page of the staff report, you'll see that the existing to proposed says 8 lots in one block and then no change for the proposed condition. That is technically true because this zoning map amendment request is not officially facilitating that. The applicant has submitted a separate lot combination request. That does not come before the Planning and Zoning Commission here, but the end goal eventually is to combine these 8 parcels into one parcel. But that is technically separate, but just want to make sure we're all clear on that. So no changes are being proposed to the structures themselves by the landowner as far as staff is aware. And then both the existing zoning district right now and the proposed zoning district would permit the existing building types and the same density of units, things like that. The proposed RM10 residential zoning district would ultimately permit all of these buildings to be on one parcel, whereas the existing conditional R10 would only permit these on separate lots as they are right now. The RM10, they could be on the same lot or on separate lots, but in R10, they can only be on separate, not the same lot. And one other note on the conditional R10 right now, that existing zoning district, that only extra condition on there is that it limits the uses to strictly 2-family dwellings, so what you see right now. But the proposed RM10 is not being proposed with any conditions as of right now. The area is in a residentially zoned area, so there is a variety of single-family, 2-family, and multifamily residential units around the property. And the project area in the future land use plan is described as urban neighborhood, which is broadly described as places for quiet enjoyment of home life. The public was notified of this request via publications in the Bismarck Tribune on January 16th and 23rd, and 62 postcards were mailed to owners of nearby properties on January 16th, 2025 as well. And then additionally, a physical sign providing information on the public hearing was placed in a publicly accessible spot in the project, at the project location on January 12th, 2025. To my knowledge, staff has not received any inquiries or questions or written comments prior to this hearing. So as a cumulative result of all findings contained in the staff reports, City of Bismarck staff find that the proposed zoning map amendment would not adversely impact public health, safety, and general welfare, and that it is generally consistent with the comprehensive plan, Bismarck Code of Ordinances, and relevant state law. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the zoning map amendment from the conditional R10 residential zoning district to the RM10 residential zoning district for lots 2 through 9, Block 1, Cottonwood Parkview Edition, first replat. Does the commission have any questions for me at this time?
Commissioners, questions for Isaac? Commissioner Shell?
Isaac, are there any landscaping requirements that would come along with this change from a R10 to an RM10?
Thank you, Commissioner Shell, Chair Schwartz, and Commissioners. In this particular case, everything is existing. Therefore, there would be no additional landscaping requirements put in as a result of this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Commissioners, any additional questions for Isaac? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Isaac. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I'll open the public hearing for this agenda item. Would either the requester or a representative be here?
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. Nicholas Cullen with Houston Engineering, here representing the property owners for the request, and here to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions for Nick? Commissioner Shell?
I guess, Nick, for the record, are there any intentions for the owner to demolish the existing buildings and build something else?
There is not at all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, I'll ask questions for Nick. I have a question for you, Nick, because this fascinates me just a little bit. If you can share, why is it advantageous to combine?
There's a financial savings in terms of taxes for the property owner to combine all of their owned individual parcels into one multi-parcel.
Okay. I was suspicious of that, but I thought I'd ask.
Yes.
All right. Commissioner Schell.
Maybe just another piece for context, Nick, would this, if it was combined, be similar to the property across the street on Camrose that has similar 2-unit buildings, but 8 or 10 of them or whatever it is on one parcel?
That is the goal, to mimic exactly across the street.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And again, any questions for Nick? Thank you.
You're welcome.
With that, the podium is open for others that would care to speak to this agenda item. And I'm not seeing or hearing anybody stepping up, so with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Any additional comments, Isaac?
None at this time, Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you. With that, Commissioners, this is a request for a zoning map amendment. Staff's recommendation is to approve. What are your wishes?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Johnson.
Second.
A second from Commissioner, was that?
Schmitz.
Commissioner Schmitz, thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second on the table. Any discussion? Commissioner Wangler.
My question would be, is this in my neighborhood? Is there a conflict with me voting on it? I mean, I live about 3 blocks from it. Is
No,
not an issue. Thank you.
thank you for asking. Okay, with that, no discussion. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Swanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wangler,
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner,
Yes.
Commissioner Schell,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, we'll move on to item C in our regular agenda, which is Edwards Village, 7th edition, second replat. And once again, Isaac will provide us with staff report.
Yes, good evening again, Chair Schwartz and Commissioners. This next regular agenda item also comes to us from Edgewood REIT, who is, in this case, requesting approval of a zoning map amendment from an R10 residential zoning district to an RM10 residential zoning district. Might sound a little familiar, but also there is a minor subdivision final plat in accompanying with this one. So that new proposed plat would be titled Edgewood Village 7th Edition Second Replat. This project, as you can see on the screen here, is located in northeast Bismarck, east of Nebraska Drive, west of Oklahoma Lane, and on the north side of Knutson Avenue. This project consists of about 10.55 acres and is a replat of lots 1 through 50, Block 1, Edgewood Village, 7th Edition, first replat. So this particular minor plat will change the existing 50 lots in one block to a 1 lot in 1 block subdivision. And the zoning map amendment portion that is accompanying this will change the entire replatted area from the existing R10 to the RM10 residential zoning district. Similarly to the previous agenda item, there are no proposed changes to the structures themselves as far as staff is aware. It's in, again, a residential area with some undeveloped land to the north, some single-family or multifamily land around there as well. Legacy High School is to the south there. But both the existing zoning district and the proposed zoning district would permit the existing 2-family dwellings to be there at the same density of units, the same number of units. But the difference here, again, is that the RM10 zoning district would permit all of them to be on one parcel, whereas right now they would need to be on separate parcels. The replat will also adjust some of the details regarding easements and access as necessary, and the plat area in this case is identified as being neighborhood mixed use in the future land use plan, which are broadly described as the social and commercial gathering spaces for the surrounding neighborhoods. The public was notified of this request via publications in the Bismarck Tribune on January 16th and 23rd. 17 postcards were mailed to nearby property owners on January 16th, 2025, and a physical sign providing information on the project was placed in a publicly accessible spot at the project location on January 12th, 2025 as well. Similarly to the first regular agenda item on today's agenda, there is an additional notification requirement to the applicant specifically in the form of a certified letter. And much like that first regular agenda item, it was not sent within the 10-day prior to the public hearing timeframe that city ordinance specifies, but it was sent within the 5-day or longer timeframe that state law requires. So that letter was sent on January 22nd, 2025, in addition to all of the other standard notifications that staff regularly give to the applicants of this project. They are aware of that, and they are in this case requesting a waiver from that specific Title 14 notification requirement. They are aware and okay with that. And all other notification requirements to the neighborhood was met in state law and city zoning ordinance. To my knowledge, staff has received one inquiry for more information on this particular request, but we have not received any formal written comments prior to this hearing, to the best of my knowledge. So as a cumulative result of all the findings contained in this staff report, City of Bismarck staff find that the proposed minor subdivision final plat and accompanying zoning map amendment would not adversely impact public health, safety, and general welfare, and that it is generally consistent with the comprehensive plan, Bismarck Code of Ordinances, and relevant state law. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the zoning map amendment from the existing R10 residential zoning district to the RM10 residential zoning district, and approval of the minor subdivision final plat titled Edgewood Village 7th edition second replat, with the condition that certified letter requirement in Title 14 is waived as detailed in the staff report. Does the commission have any questions for me at this time?
Commissioners, questions for Isaac? Commissioner Shell.
Keep the streak alive here. It's more of a statement, Isaac, and it will lead into a question for the applicant. In the original plat, or even the replat, as this parcel was subdivided into 50 individual lots, there was a series of stormwater easements and access easements and water main easements established on the previous plat to allow the owner of lot 45 to drain their water across the owner of lots 44 property to get eventual to where it needs to get to. With this replat, because it's being now consolidated into one owner, the necessity for many of those easements is no longer there, so the stormwater easement was removed. I might suggest or add that the water main easement could probably be removed also. If that's shown on the previous plat, there really wouldn't be a need of that dedication of that plat to themselves for water main easement. And I would also note that the owner's certificate and dedication statement probably needs to be revised. That would then take a look to see which easements actually exist or will be dedicated or rededicated, and citing those, and then removing some of the language for the other ones. So it's not something probably actionable for you, but something maybe it's a question for the applicant when they come up.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Commissioners, additional questions for Isaac? I'm not seeing or hearing any, Isaac. Thank you. With that, I'll open the public hearing for this agenda item. And I see Nick is going to step back up to the podium.
Yes. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners, Nick Cullen. Commissioner Shell, we did receive your comments regarding the water main easement as well as the owner's dedication. And yes, we agree with those, and we will remove those from the plat and make those adjustments.
Yep, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, any additional questions for Nick while we have him up? Commissioner Shell?
One more follow-up. Is there any intention of the owner to demolish the 450 structures that are on this property and build something else on this site?
Chairman, Commissioner Shell, no, there is not any plans for that. You're welcome.
All right, thank you. With that, I don't think there's any additional questions for you, Nick. Thank you so much. With that, the podium is open for others that would care to speak to this agenda item. And I'm not seeing or hearing anybody jumping to the podium, so with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Isaac, any additional comments?
No additional comments. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, thank you. With that, this is a request for a zoning map amendment and a minor subdivision final plat. And staff recommendation for both is to approve with conditions or single condition. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
I would make a motion, we approve as presented with the condition that Commissioner Shell had suggested and they agreed to.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Wangler. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And that was Commissioner Schmitz again?
Yes. Yes,
Thank you.
sorry.
All right, we have a second from Commissioner Schmitz. Thank you. With that, any additional discussion, commissioners? All right, not seeing or hearing any. Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Swanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner,
Yes.
Commissioner Shell?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz?
Yes.
Commissioner Wengler?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Chair Schwartz?
Yes, the motion is approved. We will move on to item D in our regular agenda this evening, and that is Prairie Place subdivision, Block 2, Lot 4, less the west 240 feet. And Jenny is going to provide us with staff report this evening.
Good evening, Chair Schwartz, Commissioners. Jordan and Amanda Williams are requesting approval of a rural residential lot split to split Lot 4, less the west 200 feet, Block 2, Prairie Place subdivision. The request is located north of Bismarck, north of 43rd Avenue Northeast, between 26th Street Northeast and Centennial Road, along the north and west sides of Wild Rose Crescent. The request would split Lot 4, less the west 240 feet, north to south, creating two separate parcels. The western parcel would be approximately 75,960 square feet and include an existing single-family residential dwelling and accessory buildings. The eastern parcel would be approximately 68,900 square feet. The applicant has indicated that they are proposing to construct a new single-family dwelling on this parcel. The property is located within the rural residential zoning district. The minimum lot size for a property within this district is 65,000 square feet with a minimum lot width of 150 feet and a depth of 200 feet. Both proposed parcels meet these requirements. The property is surrounded by rural residential single-family uses and zoning. If approved as proposed, the Burleigh County Tax Equalization Director has requested that a deed transferring the ownership of the eastern parcel is recorded with the Burleigh County Recorder's Office before the issuance of a building permit. Hickory Township was notified of this request on January 6th. The public has also been notified, and a notice was published in the Tribune on January 16th and 23rd, and 61 postcards were mailed to the owners of nearby properties on January 16th. We did receive one written comment that was distributed to you prior to the meeting, and I received one phone call, neither for or against the request, just an inquiry. Additionally, a physical sign providing information on the hearing was placed in an accessible spot on the project on January 12th. This request was evaluated according to the standards contained within our comprehensive plan, code of ordinances, and state law, and as a result of the findings contained in the staff report, staff opined that the proposed rural residential lot split would not adversely impact the public health, safety, and general welfare, and is consistent with our comprehensive plan, code of ordinances, and state law. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the rural residential lot split of Lot 4, less the west 240 feet, Block 2, Prairie Place subdivision, with the following condition: that deed transferring ownership of the eastern parcel is recorded with the Burleigh County Recorder prior to the issuance of a building permit. Do you have questions?
Commissioners, questions for Jenny? Commissioner Shell.
Jenny, two questions. One being, I guess, was the Burleigh County Highway Department express any concerns with additional access points that would be envisioned or generated from this lot split? And then second question would be, are we aware of any covenants or anything else in this neighborhood that would, even though by city ordinances or county ordinances allow the lot split, would still not, through covenants or some private issue, not allow them to build a house or do whatever they might want to do?
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Commissioners, I'll take the last one first. Regarding covenants, I'm not aware of any. The applicant is here, and perhaps they have some additional information. Burleigh County Highway Department is always part of our review process, especially for properties in our ETA. The county representative is here today to answer any questions. I'm unaware if they have any concerns regarding an additional access. And he's shaking his head no. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Commissioners, any additional questions for Jenny?
Jenny, just one other question. This is Mayor Schmitz. So do you know what the typical lot sizes are in the rest of the development? Because when I look at the lots next to it, I think the lot split seems to equalize them, but I might be misreading it.
Mayor Schmitz, Commissioners, Yeah, I would say that the lot sizes in the rest of the development are fairly similar to the proposed parcel sizes with this rural residential split. This lot was, when it was platted, was much larger than the properties adjacent, so it has the opportunity to split further.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schmitz. With that, any additional questions for Jenny? Commissioner Wangler, thank you.
When I look at the aerial shot here, it looks to be 2 accessory buildings on that property. Coming down to the 76,000 square feet that the western parcel would be, does that fit within the size requirements of buildings? I know the city commission, I think, voted last night to go to a 4% of total land
They did.
on the ETA or something like that?
Yes, they did. 4% of the area of the property.
Right.
I cannot do that quick math right here, but I think one of my cohorts can do that at the table. If you wanted to double check, I apologize. I should have that ready for you.
So it looks to me like, 4% of that would be what, 3,100 square foot building probably would be the largest building that accessory could be on that, within that area, and I guess I'm just curious if the accessory building would fit within that.
Commissioner Wangler, you can ask the question when we get the gentleman up here again, okay?
Do you have the number, Isaac?
Yes, for the western new parcel as proposed, 4% would be approximately 3,040 square feet.
Well done, sir. Both of you.
All right, thank you. I don't think there are any more questions for you, Jenny. Thank you. With that, we'll open the public hearing for this agenda item. Would either the requester or a representative be here to speak to this? And if you add your name to the log there, that would be wonderful, and introduce yourself.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Williams, and we are the requesters.
Very good.
So to answer the question about the square footage of our current house has roughly 1,000 square foot footprint on the house. The detached garage, it does not have an attached garage, is also roughly 1,000 square feet, and the detached shed is 16 by 24.
Commissioner Wangler?
So that would be well within the 30 or 3,000 square feet that would be allowed on that parcel. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wangler. Any other additional information you think you could share with us or need to? Okay, Commissioners, Commissioner Schell.
I guess maybe could you answer any knowledge that you have of covenants in the area that just want to make sure that we're, not that the city or the county can enforce covenants, but just want to make sure that it's something that you're aware of if that's an issue?
Yeah, when we got the house, there's no covenants prohibiting it. The original plot, it was a 5-acre lot that was owned by the developer. When he developed the land and moved the house out there in 72 or 73, the house was originally down where the gas station is, right west of Sanford. It's built in 1920. They did originally split the west side 240 feet off originally. So it has been split once, and then the east side so that it would match the other sides or size of the other lots. Still has room to be split off to match.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schell. Additional questions for Jordan? I'm not seeing any, Jordan.
Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you. With that, the podium is open for others that would care to address this agenda item.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is John Piskowski. I live in the neighborhood out there. Just wanted to make the commission aware that there are covenants that exist for that subdivision. As the applicant alluded to, I don't believe there's anything that precludes this, but there are covenants that exist for that area.
That's good to know. Thank you. Commissioners, any questions for John? John, I'm not seeing or hearing any, so thank you.
Thanks, you bet.
With that, the podium is open for others that would care to speak to this agenda item. And I'm not seeing or hearing anybody getting up to the podium. So with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, this is a request for a rural residential lot split. And staff recommendation, Jenny, do you have any final comments?
Mr. Chairman, no, thank you for asking.
All right, thank you. This is a request for a rural residential lot split. Staff's recommendation is to approve with a single condition. What are your wishes?
Move to approve as presented.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Schmitz,
Second.
a second from Commissioner Johnson. Any additional discussion? And seeing or hearing none, Sarah, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Swanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Wengler,
Yes.
Commissioner Shell,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor, Commissioner Bittner,
Yes.
and Chair Schwartz.
Yes, the motion is approved. With that, that wraps up our regular agenda for this evening. We have some other business, and I asked, we had kind of an interesting agenda item at the end of our December meeting, and I asked Daniel if he would kind of give us a follow-up on it. We sent it on its way, but I was curious if the way we handled it helped to expedite things or what actually happened, if you don't mind addressing that.
Sure, thank
And
you.
excuse me, Daniel, I was just going to say it was the Wachters 17th edition Block 2, a special use.
Sure. Thank you, Chair Schwartz. And if any of you have any questions or curious about how things ended up after it goes through your table, you're always welcome to ask, and we can give a report. So in this particular one, this was a drive-through special use permit that you heard last month. You had approved it with two conditions. One condition is that an easement were validated by staff to give an extra foot of allowable use on the adjacent property for that lane of the drive-through. And the second condition was related to the landscaping on the lot. We did receive an easement. Gabe and myself reviewed and found it to do what it said it would do. And so it does give that allowance for use of the property. So we forwarded that information on to the applicant. And it was recorded, I believe. We've checked the recorder's office, and that easement has been recorded. We have not received a site plan to date, and so that would be the next step. And we also haven't received a building permit for the structural alterations to actually put in the drive-through. So those things are forthcoming. We expect them to be coming to us soon for that project.
Okay, well, thank you. I was just curious, and that satisfies it. All right, well, we're down to our organizational part of the meeting for 2026, and that would be election of a chair and vice chair. And I am willing to once again sit as your chair if you so decide. It will require a nomination and a vote. So with that, I'll open the floor to nominations.
To nominate Chair Schwartz.
Okay, and with that, I'll close the nominating. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. All right, thank you. And with that, we'll move on to the vice chair position.
I would nominate Cole Johnson for vice chair.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. And with that, I'll close the nominations if there are no more. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. None? Okay, thank you, Cole. All right, we've got a chair and vice chair in place. Daniel, did you want to speak to training at all?
Sure. Thank you, Chair Schwartz. This is more of a question for the group. As you know, we've stated an intent to have some training for all of you for the Planning and Zoning Commission. It's been a number of years since we've really had a meeting where we've all sat down together at a table and talked over the role and some of the tools that you have available. So the question we have is we'd like to schedule this as a special meeting, and it'll still be a public meeting. It'll all be open to the public, anyone who may join. But we would probably have it at a different venue, maybe upstairs, a table where we could all sit around. And the question I'd have is for scheduling purposes, what I can do is I can send out a poll to all of you, and you can indicate your availability. Is there a preference for a meeting in the evening, such as this one, another at night in the evening, or to do it earlier in the day, perhaps in an afternoon before one of these meetings? So I'll leave that up to you, and then I can send some dates out once you give some preferences.
Daniel, can you anticipate or have an idea how long the training would last?
I think 1 hour and a half was what I was considering for that, to allow enough time for presentation and some questions. And the North Dakota Planning Association, I believe, will be able to send somebody to join with us and give another outside impression as well.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. So everybody will get an opportunity to pick an evening that works, and I think you'll enjoy the training. I've been through it before, and it kind of helps layout for how we do things on this commission, and it'll help you feel more comfortable sitting here and asking questions and all of that good stuff. So thank you. With that, our next meeting is going to be on February 25th, and with that, I'll adjourn the meeting, and thank you all for your time this evening.